There was a buzz in the crowd last night as two Cy Young hopefuls dueled in Game 2. Roger Clemens was solid for 3 innings, but a couple of swings that didn't leave the infield cost him 2 runs. He left after 5 when a hamstring injury ended his evening early. Chris Carpenter struggled from the outset, giving up 5 hits in the first 2 innings, but settled down to pitch a complete game. The win gave him a league-high 20 wins for the first-place Cardinals. Today, Wandy Rodriguez looks to help the Astros win the series and head to Philly with momentum. Game 3 is next on FSN Houston. Live from Minute Maid Park in downtown Houston, Texas, FSN Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Today, the finale of the homestand, the rubber game of the series between the front-running St. Louis Cardinals and the Houston Astros. Good afternoon, everybody. Bill Brown, Larry Durker, Greg Lucas joins us later. The Astros a half game out in the wild card race, and this has been quite a weekend for scoreboard watching, Larry.
Yeah, it certainly has, and it probably will continue in that vein throughout the week and the next weekend and right on until October. With so many teams involved in the wild card race, you're almost bound to have 2 or 3 teams that are in it all the way till the end.
The top 3 teams with 63 losses. The Astros go to Philadelphia after this matchup. Wandy Rodriguez and Jason Marquis.
Well, Jason Marquis coming off a great game, a 2-hit shutout, but he had a 7-game losing streak prior to that game. Wandy Rodriguez, if you look at his ERA, you'd have to say is the luckiest left-hander in the league. He's only got 2 fewer wins than Roger Clemens, but he's given up about 4.5 more runs every game.
The Astros will take a little more of that luck today, thank you. Albert Pujols and the Cardinals playing their final game of the season at Minute Maid Park. It's the deciding game of the series next. Runner for Tony La Russa's Redbirds. David Eckstein leads off at shortstop with Jim Edmonds in center field. Albert Pujols is the first baseman. The cleanup man is Yadier Molina, the catcher. Mark Ressalonix at second base. So Taguchi in right field. Abraham Nunez at third. Hector Luna in left field. And Jason Marquis on the mound. There is strike 1 from Wandy Rodriguez to David Eckstein, who's put together an 8-game hitting streak. 281, 7 homers, and 53 runs batted in. He smacks a liner, and that's in for a hit. Willie Taveras was shading him to play to right center. He went to straightaway center, and he has a 9-game hitting streak.
Well, it didn't take very long.
No, it didn't. Jumped on that pitch. Here's the scouting report on Wandy, brought to you by Rico.
Well, when I say make them earn it, don't walk them. They have enough good hitters that if you give them free runners, they're going to drive them in a lot. So control of the off-speed pitches, curveball, and changeup will be very important. And hang on to that rabbit's foot. Get some runs scored for you.
Well, Wandy beat Cincinnati Tuesday 5-2. There's Jim Edmonds showing bunt, taking ball 1. 270 for Edmonds, 24 homers, 75 runs batted in, including a 2-home-run game on Friday night. Astros won that one 6-5 in 13. The Redbirds squared the series with a 4-2 win last night. Wandy pops the fastball, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. That pitch coming at 91 miles per hour.
That's about his upper limit.
Wandy has lost his only decision to the Cardinals. That was here 11-9 back in early June, facing Jason Marquis. He gave up 9 hits and 9 runs in 2 2/3. At the knees, 2-1. Reggie Sanders hit a grand slam off him, and Marquis went deep. Angel Hernandez is the home plate umpire. Tom Hallian at first base. Brian Knight at second. Greg Gibson at third. Edmonds hits it to left center field. Willie Taveras running hard and getting to that spot. Overran it a little bit. Fires back toward the infield, and it's out number 1.
But Jim Edmonds just can't hit second in the lineup.
Raul Chavez, the catcher, talks it over with Wandy Rodriguez. Wandy's 9-6 with a 5.94 ERA. He's worked 97 innings.
Yeah, you look at the 43 walks and put them together with all the hits he's allowed, and he's had runners on base throughout most of the innings he's pitched this year.
Now he faces Albert Pujols. 335, 35 homers, 100 runs batted in for Pujols.
Then here's another guy that's really been lucky this year. He's been lucky every year.
This ball one to Pujols. Another monstrous season for him. He ranks in the top 5 in the National League in all 3 Triple Crown categories. Second in batting average, tied for 3rd in homers, tied for 2nd in runs batted in. He looks at ball 2. His recent work in the National League as he's come up and put together 5 outstanding years.
Look at those RBIs. He's got 100 now. He may end up with 120 this year too. His walks have actually gone up this year as the pitchers have become more and more tentative in trying to face him and being more careful. He's grown into a slightly better feel for the strike zone, and so a lot of times this year he's just walking down to first base.
On the corner, it's 2 balls and a strike. Pujols has struck out only 58 times. That's the 3rd fewest in the majors among players with 20 or more homers. Willie Taveras shades him to right center. Bangs the curve off his foot, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Pujols.
May not be a bad time to throw one to first base. He has not done that yet, and Eckstein is not a big base stealer. He's still intended and caught 6 times, but if Wandy just keeps going home every time, Eckstein will take off on first movement.
Ooh, pretty good try, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Just a little off the plate inside. Now, I would guess as few as times as Pujols strikes out that they'll send Eckstein on this pitch, but he won't run first movement. He'll make sure that Wandy's going home. He didn't go.
Nope.
Surprising.
Last 3 starts for Wandy Rodriguez. 5 innings, 5 innings, 7 innings back on the 15th against the Cubs.
Yeah. Runs 1, 2, and 4. Not too bad.
His run support has been fantastic. The Astros averaging 6.6 runs per game in his starts. The Astros are 11-6 in Wandy's 17 starts. That's the best winning percentage of any Astros starting pitcher in his starts this season.
He might start opening day next year.
Still 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, he's done a lot of learning along the way this season. Ranks 3rd among National League rookies in games started, 4th in innings pitched. Pitching in a pressure game right now in a race. Astros would love to grab this one today before heading for Philadelphia. Phillies are trailing 3-0 at Washington after 3.5. And the Florida Marlins have fallen behind New York 4-0 after 3.
Watching that scoreboard. Will be all afternoon.
It'll be a good day for that. Cincinnati and Atlanta 1-1 after 4. Cardinals go back home. They'll be meeting the New York Mets. It's been a long road trip for them. They're 8-4 on this trip, and they just continue to grind it out. They've won 5 series in a row. They're 30-18 since the All-Star break. Tough team to beat. Everett to his left, and there's the turn by Burke. It's a double play. No runs, a hit, nobody left. Wandy Rodriguez gets a double play ball from Albert Pujols and puts the first 0 on the board today. Cardinals nothing. The Astros coming up, and we'll take a look at the starting lineup for Phil Garner's club. Willie Taveras leads it off in center field. It's Chris Burke at second base today. Craig Biggio getting a rest. Morgan Ensberg's the third baseman. Lance Berkman, the cleanup man, plays first base. It's Jason Lane in right field. Luke Scott in left field. Adam Everett at shortstop. Raul Chavez the catcher for Wandy Rodriguez. Veteran right-hander Jason Marquis featured on our Rico scouting report.
when he's right, hitters will be pounding the ball on the ground all the time. He's not a good hitter. He's a great hitter. He can help himself in that regard, although it hasn't helped him enough to fashion a winning record. He hasn't had nearly as much run support as Wandy Rodriguez.
Willie Taveras looks at another sinker. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. 94 miles per hour for Marquis on that pitch to a 292 hitter who's 0 for 9 in this series. Third baseman Nunez is in tight. Line drive up the right field line goes foul. 1-2 to Willie Taveras, who's hit .315 against St. Louis pitching this year, and that's been the best pitching in the National League. Cardinals have a 3.44 ERA. Jason Marquis is the only one with a losing record in their rotation. Line foul. He is 10-13 with a 4.42 ERA, coming off a shutout, a 2-hitter against Washington on Saturday.
You see 77 strikeouts in 169 innings. That's only about 4 strikeouts per 9 innings. Well, he pitches for contact.
Tap towards short, cutting across. The play made by Nunez for out number 1.
Good play. That was the type of ground ball that Willie sometimes beats out.
Yes, he does.
Nunez got lucky. He bobbled that ball, and he bobbled it right into his bare hand so he could throw it.
Yeah, he didn't really get it in the glove. He used his arm. Chris Burke on a 4-game hitting streak. 246, 4 homers, 25 runs batted in. 1 for 4 in this series. Up and in, ball 1. Marquis didn't have much notice before he made that last start Saturday at Washington. He was pitching on 3 days rest for the injured Mark Mulder. Line to left field. That's in for a hit for Burke and a 5-game hitting streak for Chris. And the Astros get a speedy man on. He has 11 steals.
He put sinker down and in. It didn't sink as much as he wanted it to. And Burke hit it sharply, and now the Astros come up to Ensberg and Berkman, 2 guys that have really hit Marquis well.
This is the 5th time the Astros have faced Marquis this season. He's 3-0 against them with 1 no decision. Ensberg 279, 35 homers, 95 runs batted in. He fouls it for strike 1. Ensberg has fantastic career numbers against Marquis. 8 for 14 with 2 homers. He hit a home run in the first inning in St. Louis the last time Marquis faced the Astros, July 16th. Marquis won that game 4-2, beating Roy Oswalt. Strike makes it 0-2.
Ensberg has really developed more power this year than he's ever had before. He always had pull power, but now he's increased that to the point where he can hit the ball out to the opposite field.
Eckstein to his left, steps on second, throws to first, and the Cardinals match the Astros in the first inning with a double play to end it. It's 0-0 through 1. For 1 at Minute Maid, coming up on our Dodge Grab Life by the Horns feature, we have a rapid fire Q&A segment with Jeff Bagwell. Stay tuned to see his answers. Second inning, Yadier Molina is the cleanup man against the left-hander, Wandy Rodriguez.
Wonder if he's ever hit cleanup before.
I think he did a few days ago, and he has been recently against lefties. 7 homers, 43 runs batted in, a 259 average for Molina. He looks at ball 1. Cardinals are resting Larry Walker today, and they move Edmonds up to second against the lefty. So Molina gets the cleanup assignment. He fouls it back. 1 ball, 1 strike. An outstanding young catcher who also hits well.
And you can see what he's done against left-handers. That's why he's in the cleanup spot.
He fouls that ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals lead the season series from the Astros 10-3. They've won 4 and lost 3 here at Minute Maid Park. 2 games remaining in St. Louis between these two. So it's a big ball game for Wandy Rodriguez, trying to reach double figures in wins. He could become the 7th Astros rookie to win 10 games or more. Fly ball, Willie Taveras, Chris Burke. Burke is calling. One down in the 2nd inning. Mark Resolanik's the batter. Resolanik's on a 5-game hitting streak. 298 with 8 homers, 53 runs batted in for Gresolanik. He's hitting .340 since the All-Star break.
He's got great hand-eye coordination. He's always been a free swinger, swings at a lot of pitches that aren't strikes, and oftentimes hits those pitches and gets hits.
There's ball 1 to Gresolanik. Banged out a big line drive double last night. .340 with 4 homers since the All-Star break. That was in the 7th inning, and that gave the Cardinals the lead 3-2.
Yeah, Taveras got his glove on it, couldn't hold it.
Yeah, he made a diving effort for it. 2 balls and no strikes to Gresolanik. Mark, 32 years old, came up with the Expos. It's 2-1 to him. He's now 35. He was a 12th round pick at 91. He's had a very nice career. .287 career batting average. Hit slowly. Ensberg cuts over. Makes an accurate throw. 2 outs. And so Taguchi will follow.
Another guy that's hit pretty well against left-handed pitchers, .307 with 4 homers. And he's not really a home run hitter.
.294 overall, 7 home runs, 46 runs batted in for the 36-year-old Japanese-born outfielder. Fly ball back in left field. Luke Scott along in front of that warning track to make it a 1-2-3 second. It's 0-0.
Scoreless as we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Greg Lucas down on field level, reminding you that when the Astros return home, it is a huge series. It's going to be the Marlins for 4 games starting next Monday. That's a wild card showdown. Get your tickets for this series at Astros.com or 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Lance Berkman takes, and it's strike 1. The home 2nd inning getting underway for Jason Marquis, facing a .291 hitter with 15 homers, 57 runs batted in. He has a home run, 3 walks in this series. Cardinals are shifting the infielders around, playing Berkman to pull.
Hit one sharply up the middle yesterday. The next time was right there to throw him out.
Marquis misses, and it's 2 balls and a strike for Jason Marquis, formerly with the Atlanta Braves. He was traded in a multiplayer deal for J.D. Drew and Eli Marrero. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And last year he was 15-7 for the Redbirds, working 201 innings.
Been around a while, and he's still just 27 years old.
Native of Manhasset, New York. Ground ball single into right center.
Well, Berkman continues to hit Marquis. Now 8 of 13 against him.
With Ensberg 8 for 15 and Berkman 8 for 13 right now. The Astros have the numbers for those 3-4 hitters against this right-hander. Jason Lane with 20 homers, 63 runs batted in, has a .258 average, 1 hit, 2 runs scored in this series.
Jason played in one of those games against Marquis and went 1 for 3.
Toward the right field line, a long run for Taguchi and into foul territory. Pujols and Gresolanik also going for it.
One thing that I've learned in this series, and you continue to learn things as you watch more games, that is that Pujols can run a lot faster than you might think. He's stolen some bases, hasn't been caught much. He advanced to third on a wild pitch last night that only got about 3 feet away from Brad Ausmus. He can, for his size, he doesn't look like he's moving that fast, but he is.
He can even take his cap off and run fast. No balls and a strike on Lane. 1-1. Maybe he's like Willie Mays. He's just so fast he runs out from underneath that cap.
Well, maybe not.
But he did pull off one of the big base running plays last night, going from second to third on that wild pitch. Line to left field, headed for the big wall. Luna plays it off that wall. Berkman heads for third. Here's the throw and the tag. And the umpire got taken out. Angel Hernandez, but it's an out.
Yeah, that was not good base running by Lance Berkman. If you're going to take a chance on a play like that, you need to do it with one out in the inning, not with nobody out.
Lane winds up on second after this swing.
Well, he crushed it. It's just too bad he didn't get it up in the air a little higher. Lance took that umpire out like the umpire was going to make a double play.
Angel Hernandez, the home plate umpire, had rotated around to make the call at third. And Luna, in his first start in left field, gets an outfield assist. Lane gets credit for a single, takes second on the throw, and it's Luke Scott batting on a 3-game hitting streak. Strike to Scott, a 208 hitter in 48 major league at-bats with 3 runs batted in, but he was tied for the PCL lead in homers with 31 and drove in 87 for Round Rock. Left-handed hitters hitting .244 against Marquis. Right-handers quite a bit higher, .280. Solonic to Pujols. Lane to third, 2 down.
Pujols thought there were 2 outs in the inning. Started running in.
Adam Everett tries for the big 2-out hit. With 10 homers, 47 runs batted in. He checks in at .251 with a couple of hits and an RBI in this series.
And 6 for 19 off Marquis, so he's another guy that's done pretty well.
Ball 1. So these numbers for the Astros hitters indicating how Marquis has an ERA against Houston of 5.51, but he's 4-2. Marquis misses, and it's 2-0.
Everybody is dependent upon teammates for success. If the team scores a lot of runs for you, you can win a lot of games as a pitcher. If you're in a batting order with a good hitter behind you, you may see better pitches to hit. And in that sense, success breeds more success.
2 balls and a strike. The Cardinals are 11-14 in Marquis starts this year. Overall, they're 86-50.
If it wasn't for him, they'd be having a good year.
3 balls and a strike. Well, it's hard to fault a starting rotation with a 73-39 record. And what a game for Chris Carpenter once he got through some bumps in the road in the first and second innings last night. A complete game, his 7th of the year, and he is now 20-4. His ERA is 2.28. 120 pitches for Carpenter and going the distance last night. He now leads the majors in complete games. Strike makes it 3-2 to Everett with Raul Chavez on deck. Still Washington 3, Philadelphia nothing. The Nationals are batting in the bottom of the 5th inning. Gavin Floyd started for the Phillies against Esteban Loaiza, who's given up 1 hit through 5. Marquis gets a strikeout. It's 0-0 after 2. Houston nothing. Now our Jack in the Box standings show you every Sunday the Astros minor league clubs. Round Rock in 3rd place, Corpus in 3rd. They're finishing up the season today. Salem, Lexington, Tri-City, and Greenville. And Greenville, the only team that has actually finished play for the season. But Kobe Clemens, who played for that club, was then promoted to Tri-City. And so he gets some extra games. Wandy Rodriguez throws ball one to switch hitting third baseman Abraham Nunez. 291, 5 homers, 40 runs batted in for Nunez. He pops it up, but it's out of play, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike to Nunez. Cardinals are quite pleased with what he's given them in the absence of Scott Rowland.
He's hit a little bit better left-handed than right this year, but just a little. He's done pretty well both ways.
Fouls the breaking pitch. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals aren't quite the offensive juggernaut they were last year when they had a healthy Rowland.
And Reggie Sanders too. You tend to forget him, but he can be a very productive hitter.
Yes, he can. But still, they are very near the top in many offensive categories in the National League. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's Sanders. He could be back in just a few days from his injury. Had a broken bone in his leg, which you might recall because it was against the Astros, a collision in left center field. Going for a fly ball with Jim Edmonds. Tapped to third. Ensberg comes a long way, and he won't make a throw. Nunez now takes it to a 4-game hitting streak on the infield roller.
This infield roller was a key play last night. Cardinals have had a few hits like that in this series.
Yes, they have. They hit a couple balls to third base very slowly last night. Parlayed that into some big runs. Nunez does not have a stolen base. Hector Luna, 298, has 1 homer. He's driven in 9. Smacks one foul.
Ooh, boy, I thought that was fair. What a break there.
Well, the way Greg Gibson turned, it appeared he was going to turn and signal fair, but he was just rotating and ruled it foul
Kind of
ball.
rotating out of the way of the ball. That's the general rule of thumb. Get out of the way first. Call fair or foul next.
You got that right.
Did it go over the bag?
Looked like it didn't. Looked like it was to the left.
Still one of the most difficult calls for an umpire because you have to guess where it was when it went over the bag. Obviously it was fair on the bounce before it got to the bag, and it was obviously foul past the bag where it landed. But where was it when it was immediately over the bag?
Luna has been mostly an infielder, but he's in left field today, 25 years old, from the Dominican Republic. Crack bat to third, Ensberg to second, and Burke relays to Berkman.
Oh boy, that was fast. I don't know that we've seen a double play turn much faster than that this year.
He really didn't move his feet. He just took that throw and cocked the arm and got rid of it very quickly.
Burke was a shortstop in college, drafted as a #1 pick. The Astros thought that he would make a better second baseman, and so he has played that position for a couple of years in the minor leagues, but he hasn't been able to play second much this year.
Here is a hitter, as you have already mentioned, Jason Marquis. 26 base hits this year, a .351 average, 1 homer and 10 runs batted in, and he's 6 for 10 against the Astros this year.
Well, he's cranking it up against him. He doesn't want to give up another home run.
No, sir.
Marquis is a .247 lifetime hitter, so it's not just this year that he's been doing that.
No, it's not. This time he swings over the top of a curveball, and let's take a look at that home run.
Tomahawk that up and in pitch.
That came back on June 4th here when he beat Wandy. He taps this one to second. Burke hurries in and flips over to Berkman. So Wandy Rodriguez has had 2 double play balls. He's faced 9 through 3 innings. It's 0-0. They'll do it tonight. Well, the youngster looks like he's into the ball game.
Yeah, he's transfixed on something.
It's 0-0. The Astros bat in the third. Raul Chavez leads it off against Jason Marquis. Ball one to Chamo, returning to the club from Round Rock, a 184 hitter for the Astros with 2 homers and 6 runs batted in. Brad Ausmus has been catching 4 games out of 5. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wandy Rodriguez on deck. Willie Taveras due up third. It's 2-1. Craig Biggio was talking about the rivalry between these two clubs over the last several years before the game today, and said, you know, it's a rivalry of mutual respect. No bad blood or anything like that. Been a lot of excellent baseball for the fans. Tap slowly to third. Nunez makes the throw to Pujols. 1 down.
Are we leading the league in choppers to third in this series?
I think there have been more slowly hit grounders to third in this series than we've seen in a long time in one series.
You're probably going to see a lot of ground balls to third with Marquis pitching, especially with the right-handed batters.
Wandy Rodriguez is no slouch. He has 5 hits and 31 at-bats, 1 RBI. 161 average. Certainly not up in Jason Marquis' neighborhood. Here's strike 1 at the knees. The Mets are leading 5-1 at Florida after 5, and they have roughed up A.J. Burnett for 7 hits and 5 earned runs.
That guy can't pitch.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, he has struck out 9 in 5 innings, but Cliff Floyd hit a 2-run homer off him, his 29th of the year. Jay So pitching for New York. Rodriguez strikes out. And on the throw to first, it's out number 2. Willie Taveras will follow. The Astros have 3 hits, but Marquis followed the Burke single with a double play ball, and then Berkman was thrown out trying to go first to third on the Lane single. Taveras hitless in this series. Tries to reach for the first time after grounding out to third. Cardinals are first in the league in ERA. The Astros are second, but there's a big differential in runs scored. Cardinals ranked second. The Astros ranked 13th.
The Astros starting pitching has been a little bit more stingy than the Cardinals, but the Cardinals relief pitching has been better than the Astros.
Broken bat into shallow right. So Taguchi, a sliding play for Taguchi.
Kozolanic had to leap over it.
That's some action in right field. Taguchi takes a hit away from Taveras, and Kozolanic has to go up and over to avoid stepping on his teammate. The 1-2-3 third, and it's 0-0. Moving on the scoreboard here after 3, our Corona Extra Miles Away fact shows you the 1964 Cardinals comeback on September 21st. They trailed the Phillies by 6. Phillies dropped 10 in a row, and the Cardinals won the pennant by 1 game.
And they were upset with Johnny Keane, the manager, and were threatening to let him go, and then the Cardinals won all those games, got in the World Series, and they won the World Series against the Yankees. The Yankees let Yogi Berra go as their skipper. He didn't win the World Series, he only got in it. And then they hired Johnny Keane away from the Cardinals. They've been doing this stuff for years.
Yes, they have. Well, they have a skipper they like pretty well right now. 2 balls and a strike to David Eckstein.
They like him right now, but they don't like him as much as they liked him last year.
Line drive foul makes it 2-2 to Eckstein. Tony La Russa has been at the helm. This is his 10th year with the Cardinals. He's moved into third on the all-time managerial win list. Trying to get the Birds back to that top spot in baseball. After the Boston Red Sox did a number on them last year. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Cardinals won 105 games during the regular season. They won the division by 13. They lead currently by 13.5. Strike three. Eckstein caught looking. First strikeout for Wandy.
The breaking ball into the top of the strike zone.
Jim Edmonds hit a fly ball to center in the first. Astros won the season series from St. Louis last year, 10-8. And that was quite a league championship series between the two. It could happen again. There's ball one. Chicago leads 1-0 at Pittsburgh on a Nomar Garciaparra homer in the fifth. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jerome Williams going for the Cubs against Kip Wells. Edmonds backs away from a curve and takes it for strike 2.
2 in a row. He's not picking up the spin.
It's Cincinnati 3, Atlanta 2 in the bottom of the 7th. In Atlanta, Ortiz and Ramirez pitch. High drive left center field. Taveras legging it way back to the warning track, and he leaps and grabs it.
Oh boy, that was a spectacular catch. So many times Edmonds has left the ballpark in that direction. This time the ball stayed in. And he got it. Willie Taveras, one of the best plays he's made all year.
A well-timed jump into the bullpen wall, and he hangs on. Tremendous play by Taveras.
Right on the heels of that great play by Taguchi to end the last inning.
Albert Pujols bounced into a double play. Pujols looks at ball one. Pujols is not content to just be a slugger. Runs the bases hard. Plays first base well. He really works on all phases of the game. 2-0. Talking about that play last night when he went from second to third on the wild pitch. Dave McKay, the first base coach, said the Cardinals work on things like that in spring training games. They tell their players, if there's a pitch in the dirt, just take off. We don't care if you get thrown out in spring training games.
Because you can see.
Yeah.
You can see if it's heading for the dirt. If you're ready to go, it doesn't have to get away very far, and you can make it.
That's a 1-2-3-4 for Wandy Rodriguez. It's 0-0. Our trivia question rolls in right underneath the train here at Minute Maid Park. Named the Cardinals general manager and manager fired in September 1964 prior to their pennant run.
Well, you already mentioned one of them.
Yeah, one of them was Johnny Keane.
Johnny Keane.
And
General manager, was that Bing Devine? Bing Devine. Strike one to Chris Burke. He singled to left field in the first inning.
Yeah, there were a lot of embarrassed people. Especially when Johnny went to manage the Yankees.
I'm not sure that Bing Devine was fired at that point. Because when I got traded there.
Well, he came back, you know.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah. Eckstein throws out Burke, 1 out. Well, that was a fantastic finish to that pennant race. Our Athletic trivia question will show you a little bit more about whether we were right or wrong as usual. General manager and manager fired. Bing Devine, Johnny Keane, as the Cardinals roared with those 10 straight wins, what was it, 10-game losing streak by the Phillies is what we were talking about. There's strike one to Morgan Ensberg. And
remember, Devine went over to the Mets because he was there when Nolan was signed, and then he came back to the Cardinals a few years later.
And the Phillies were just criticized for starting 2 pitchers the whole stretch drive.
Bruce Short and Jim Bunning every other day.
That was Gene Mauch, and then when they got back after they had been eliminated, there were a lot of fans at the airport to greet them, and Gene Mauch said to his players, I want to be the first one off this airplane. In other words, he was taking responsibility. And he really caught the flag.
You know, it really wasn't a very smart thing to do, but sometimes I think guys that played other positions don't really realize the importance of rest between starts for pitchers. But back then, 4-man rotations were common. Guys would pitch on the 4th day all year long. Pitching on the 2nd day at the end of the season is a little much to ask anyone to do, especially at the end, because you've already pitched. In the case of those two guys, they probably already pitched 250 innings when they started doing that.
Ensberg looks at strike 3. Jason Marquis gets a second out. That's his 3rd strikeout. Marquis had that sinker working. Here it is.
Yep, down and in.
On the final day of that 64 season, the Reds were also in the race, and they lost. And Pete Rose said later, well, I knew we were in trouble when our starting pitcher that day, John Tesaurus, showed up at the ballpark with his U-Haul trailer packed and ready to go home.
Yeah.
Berkman to the opposite field. Another one in the Landry's Crawford boxes where the Astros have been living in this homestand, and Berkman hits number 16.
So now he's 9 for 14 against Marquis. That's his first home run off it.
Berkman hit one last night to the opposite field to tie the game. And once again, he takes that fastball high and away and just shoots it the other direction.
He knew that one was going.
And Berkman was trying to locate that ball on his way to first base. Jason Lane with ball 1. Lane single to left field. That's about 4 or 5 homers into the Landry's Crawford boxes this homestand.
There's another one.
There's another one on the way.
Nope.
But Hector Luna over. And the way things are in this ballpark, every time the ball goes up in the air toward left, people are thinking home run. Berkman hits number 16, and it's 1-0 Houston. Ball 1 to Yadier Molina opens the 5th inning. Molina topped the 2nd in the 2nd inning. The Astros have a 1-0 lead on Lance Berkman's 3rd homer of this homestand. That fly ball up the right field line is headed for foul ground. A long run for 3 players, and it's out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. For Wandy Rodriguez, who has faced the minimum through 4. He's had 2 double play balls after the 2 singles he's allowed to Eckstein and Nunez. The Astros 9 games above 500, 1/2 game out in the wild card race. 2 hits allowed for Wandy, no walk.
That command of that top part of the strike zone with his breaking ball. I really don't think that's where he wants to throw it, but it's been working out quite well. That's where he wants to throw it.
Yeah, he hit the target for strikeout number 2. He's thrown ball 1 to 10 of the first 13 hitters in the game, but it's working for him.
Hasn't walked any of them yet.
Nope.
Get it on the Coca-Cola Double Play Tuesday deal presented by Powerade. Bring the label from any 32-ounce Powerade bottle to the Minute Maid box office and receive 2 outfield deck seats for only $2. Our next Double Play Tuesday is next Tuesday, and that's a big one against the Marlins.
Mark Grisselanek looks at strike 1. That's a 4-game series with Florida here. Grisselanek grounded to 3rd in the 2nd inning. Ken Griffey Jr. hit his 35th home run in Atlanta, tying him with Mickey Mantle on the all-time list with 536, tied for 12th place. No balls, 2 strikes to Grisselanek. Marcus Giles has hit 2 for the Braves, giving him 10. Javier Valentin hit his 12th for Cincinnati. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 strikeouts, 7 on the ground, and 4 in the air for Wandy. He's had his magic working today.
Had 1 solid line drive hit by Eckstein to open the game, and the only other hit was an infield hit by Nunez. Wandy's been very sharp with his control.
He's won his last 4 decisions at home. 3 balls, 2 strikes. He came up in May after going 4-2 at Round Rock in 8 starts there, and he's really given the Astros a nice lift. Mets are winning 5-1 with Jay So on the mound in the top of the 6th now in Florida, and Washington still leads the Phillies 3-0 at the end of 6. Fly ball right center, and Taveras falls off Lane. Lane was looking at Taveras. Lane could have caught it. Then he saw Willie coming and yielded to him.
Which is what you're supposed to do. Center fielder gets the priority. And Grusolanic did Wandy a favor because that pitch would have been ball 4.
So Taguchi hit a fly ball to left in the 2nd inning. Strike 1. San Diego 1, Milwaukee nothing after 3.5. Jake Peavy against Doug Davis. Jason Lane in right. 1, 2, 3 in the 5th inning. That's 8 in a row set down by the young lefty. It's 1-0 Houston. They're batting in the home 5th against Jason Marquis. Luke Scott grounded out the 2nd. Marquis with the breaking pitch, nips the corner, and it's strike 1. Marquis has 39 major league wins, 35 losses. Scott to left field, slicing, foul. No balls, 2 strikes. As Larry mentioned earlier, Marquis was in the throes of a 7-game losing streak until he pitched that shutout last time out at Washington.
What they say is control's been very erratic, but like Wandy, it's been sharp tonight or this afternoon.
Line foul the other way. Still no balls, 2 strikes. And 13 this year after going 15-7. No wins in 2003. 8-9 in 2002. Who have gotten quite a bit better since donning the Redbirds uniform. And he strikes out Scott, number 4.
Join Charles Schwab to support Astros in Action Hometown Heroes. All you've got to do is log on to Astros.com, click on Community to submit your nomination for someone who is really making a difference in your own community. Charles Schwab and your Astros teaming up to make a difference. And by golly, a lot of people are making a big difference in this community with the hurricane refugees.
Yes, they are. There's strike 1 to Adam Everett, who struck out in the 2nd inning. We got a release before the game today. The Astros players and coaches, team chairman and CEO Drayton McClain, and the Roger Clemens Foundation have combined to contribute $200,000.
Food drive continued out front before the ballpark. They collected, well, I'll say tons, because it sure looks like tons of food for the last 3 days.
Minute Maid Park has been the site of several relief efforts this week in the Houston area.
But the Astros wives have been helping out, taking in the food and supplies. Mary Pat Bailey, Jennifer Everett, Kristen Gallo, Teresa Lamb, A.C. Lane, Lindsay Lidge, Nicole Oswald, Jennifer Taveras, and Stephanie Wheeler.
And we're all out there curbside today taking in those donations along with the Houston Food Bank and Academy Sports and Outdoors. Marquis makes the play up the middle. 2 down. And it was a hot day as usual, but there they were, hard at work. It's great of the fans too to take their time to bring these items in as they come down to the ball game.
Rollerblades. We'll skate back to New Orleans a couple months from now.
Yeah, there they are, and they gave generously of their time today. Strike 2, Raul Chavez. You can make contributions to the American Red Cross Disaster Relief Fund by calling 1-800-HELP-NOW or 1-800-257-7575. No balls and 2 strikes.
He's breaking out the curveball in this inning, and it's a good one.
Sure is. Tony Rodriguez on deck. Tampa Bay is leading Toronto 1-0 after 7 in Toronto. Scott Kazmir has a shutout going with 1 walk and 9 strikeouts through 7. Marquis bare hands and throws out Chavez. It's a 1-2-3 fifth inning. It's 1-0 Astros.
Top as we go to the top of the 6th. You know, for many of the games we televised this year, we're honoring a person who wore an Astros uniform. Today we recognize Mark Portugal. He was acquired in a trade with the Twins in December of '88. He had his best years as an Astro with double-digit win totals in 3 of the 5 years he was here. Best year, '93, when he set career highs in games started, wins, and innings pitched. Free agent deal with the Giants in '94, played there for 3 other teams before calling it quits, but he was the best ever with the Astros. The 40th anniversary Astro, Mark Portugal.
And that 1 year he went about 18-4, signed a big contract with the Giants. He never approached that kind of success after that.
Except as a hitter. In '94 he won the Silver Slugger for pitchers with the Giants.
Yeah, pretty good.
354 that year.
Tony Rodriguez has allowed 2 hits. He leads it 1-0, working now in the 6th inning to Abraham Nunez with a 1-1 count. Dirt for ball 2. Wandy in his home ballpark has a record of 5-2 despite an ERA of 6.80. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Detroit and Chicago underway at U.S. Cellular. No score, top of the 1st inning. Jeremy Bonderman will pitch for the Tigers. John Garland's on the mound for the White Sox. Three balls, 2 strikes. Luna on deck. Marquis due up 3rd here in the 6th inning for the Redbirds.
You have to consider Marquis another hitter.
Yes, you do. Foul off the mask of the umpire, Angel Hernandez. He's checking the equipment now.
Good shot. He reached right down to that bag for a new baseball, so apparently didn't bother him too much. He wants to make sure it's in good shape, though, for the next time.
This is only the 2nd 3-ball count for Wandy. And it's ball 4, his first walk. The leadoff walk here in the 6th inning puts Nunez on for Luna. Luna bounced into a 5-4-3 double play in the 3rd inning. Tony La Russa is going to be honored by the Cardinals ownership prior to their game against the Cubs on Monday. We're moving into 3rd place, passing Sparky Anderson. Managerial wins. Foul back, strike 1. Cardinals ballpark coming along very nicely, but they won't be able to really go to work on those outfield seats until the Cardinals are finished at Busch Stadium for the season, because they'll have to cut into the current Busch Stadium, which will be destroyed, to make room for the new one.
I could still remember the one before Busch Stadium.
Yeah,
Sportsman's Park.
That's right. I remember that one too.
Sign of age.
What does that tell you?
Well, you were just a young fella growing up in Missouri.
Well, you were just a young fella.
Yeah, that's true.
Once upon a time, Luna with an 0-2 count. But Greg Lucas and I were the 2 old fogies in Washington, D.C., weren't we, Greg?
That's right.
And
Well,
Griffith.
I had never been to Griffith. You had been there, but
Yeah.
I'd been around. I'd seen it from the outside once.
Yeah, it was all gone. And not even a plaque up to
Nope.
commemorate that ballpark.
Now, Griffith was the owner of the Senators.
Yes.
A couple of them, I think.
Yeah.
Father and son.
Calvin and Clark.
Can you think of another stadium that was named after the owner?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Well, Comiskey.
That's
Comiskey, yeah.
Yeah, Wrigley, but
Wrigley?
of course Wrigley, it was the owner, but Comiskey.
Briggs Stadium, Detroit.
In the old days, there were more. But then the owners got smart and they realized if they reduced their ego and decided to take sponsors, they could make some money.
Yeah. And that's worked out
I'd rather
very well.
have the money than the name on the building.
That's right.
Nabin was another one in Detroit.
Yeah. Well, at Fenway Park, it's 0-0. Baltimore and Boston playing 4. Lopez and Wells pitching. Hit by the pitch. On an 0-2 count, Luna will take first, pushing Nunez to second, and now Marquis bats with 2 on and nobody out.
It'd be interesting to see what they do here, Bill, because Marquis has no sacrifice bunts. He pitched 174 innings, which indicates to me that they probably let him go ahead and swing in bunt situations.
He has not grounded into a double play all year. Hit the ball on the ground in the 3rd inning. Morgan Ensberg pinches in on the grass at third base. Lance Berkman's just a little bit in front of the baseline at first. David Eckstein on deck. Marquis hacking, and there's strike 1. He had a good pitch to swing at. Nunez, the runner there, reading the signs of Jose Oquendo. Marquis 6 for 15 with men in scoring position. Nunez, the first Redbird to reach scoring position. Now he's bunting. Chavez throwing to Chris Burke covering. The sacrifice, the first of the year for Marquis, moves both runners. Nunez to third, Luna to second, 1 out.
Tony La Russa gave him a chance to swing the bat. With 1 strike, he said, we got to advance the runner.
From where I was watching, he probably had to play at third, but he never really looked there.
Well, he had to go out.
Why didn't you yell something?
Well, I should have. I was close enough. Microphone was open, though. That would have sounded kind of bad.
Yes, it would. You're right. You're always thinking about what's good for the broadcast. Could be a squeeze situation here with 1 out, and David Eckstein, a good bunter. He's 1 for 2. There's strike 1 to Eckstein, but Eckstein has driven in 53 runs. A good total for a leadoff man.
Well, give him a swing on the house and see if he does the same thing as with Marquis and has him squeezing on the second pitch. He's got Edmonds on deck. Of course, Edmonds is a great hitter. And 1 out, no force play. Brings another bad pitch. So in almost any case, if Eckstein makes an out, it won't be a double play, and Edmonds will be able to hit. So that may be one reason why he wouldn't be punting.
These fans are into it. Grounded foul on the curve. Still no balls, 2 strikes to David Eckstein. Cardinals, a pretty resourceful team. They're second in the league in runs scored. Jim Edmonds on deck. Wandy Rodriguez leads 1-0 in the 6th. Eckstein chases 1. Still 0-2.
The Cardinals are second in runs scored by 1 run behind the Reds. The Astros are 11th in runs scored. Cardinals first in ERA. The Astros are second. The Astros are in playoff contention because of their pitching, and the Cardinals have the best record in the league because they are good at pitching and hitting.
The bunt is fouled, and a 2-strike bunt means that's a strikeout, but Eckstein not able to get that one down.
And if that was supposed to be a squeeze play, Nunez didn't know about it.
No, he wasn't coming. Unless it was a safety squeeze, but with 2 strikes, you don't squeeze, so he was just bunting for a hit. And Eckstein didn't get it down. Now it's Jim Edmonds. Edmonds twice has hit fly balls to Willie Taveras. This one hits the gap in right center, scoring Nunez and Luna, and the Cardinals grab a 2-1 lead. 2-run single, Jim Edmonds, giving him 77 runs batted in.
I think he had a pretty good idea what was coming. Wandy got ahead of him with 2 curveballs last time and then threw him a fastball, and he hit it pretty hard. But I think Edmonds was looking for that curveball this time.
And Edmonds, who's having a big series, drives in 2 to give the Cardinals a 1-run lead. He's driven in 12 against the Astros in the season series.
He weren't doing so well in St. Louis. He might like to come to Houston as a free agent the way he hits in this ballpark.
Well, he loves this place. So does Pujols, who's 0 for 2. Strike 1 to Pujols. Both Pujols and Edmonds in their careers at Minute Maid Park have OPSs, on base plus slugging, of better than 1,000. One ball and 1 strike with Molina on deck. Kansas City leads Texas 8-1 in the bottom of the 4th inning at Kauffman Stadium. Jimmy Gobble pitching for the Royals. Baroa hit his 9th home run, a 3-run shot off Edison Volquez of the Rangers. It's 2-1. Good pitching line for Wandy Rodriguez, but Marquis has been tough today as well. Wandy's due to lead off the home 6th inning.
He's his own worst enemy in this inning because the first 2 runners reached without benefit of a hit.
It's 3 balls and a strike. Well, pennant race seasoning this weekend for Zeke Estacio, who worked 5 1/3 Friday night, giving up 3 runs, and Wandy today. Bill Garner is watching 2 pitchers competitive this weekend as they go through it for the first time. There's a walk to Pujols.
It's not such a bad walk. It does put another runner in scoring position, but Molina is not nearly as dangerous as Pujols.
Second time through the order, 287. Now he's in the 3rd time through, and those hitters have combined for a 253 average. 3rd time up against Wandy Rodriguez in a game. The Astros have announced their rotation for the Phillies series, and they have Brandon Backey in line to start Wednesday night at Philadelphia against Vicente Padilla. So Brandon, after 2 rehab starts, is raring to go Wednesday night. Andy Pettit and Brett Myers will go tomorrow night, and it's Roy Oswalt and John Lieber Tuesday night in the 3-game set. 25 pitches here in the 6th inning for Wandy Rodriguez. Nobody warming up for the Astros. Molina's 0 for 2. It's ball 1 to Molina. Scott Strickland and Brandon Duckworth arrived just before last night's game, coming from the AAA Round Rock Club, which was on the road. And Strickland pitched an inning in the game. Strike makes it 1-1. It's Minnesota 2, Cleveland 1. They've played 4 at Minnesota. Baker pitching for the Twins against Westbrook for the Tribe. Travis Hafner hit his 24th home run for Cleveland. Up the middle and on through into center field. Edmonds coming home. Taveras will throw into second base, and it's 3-1 St. Louis. Molina extends his hitting streak to 7 games with an RBI single. 44 runs batted in.
Picked on that breaking ball away. He's had a good curveball in this game, but both of the base hits in this inning have come off curveballs.
Mark Versalanik 0 for 2, grounded to third, a fly ball to center field. Now the Astros are going to get a pitcher warming up. Chavez moving to his left, comes up with ball one. Bressolonic, the 8th Redbird to bat here in the 6th inning.
Yeah, the inning started with a walk to Nunez and a hit batter. Luna hit him with an 0-2 count.
One ball, one strike. Brandon Duckworth is throwing. That's rolled foul, and it's 1-2 the count.
Rodriguez is scheduled to hit first when the Astros come up in the bottom of the 6th inning, and with the score 3-1 Cardinals at this point, the Astros will most likely pinch hit for Wandy. You can't really let that influence you when you're managing, though. You can't just leave him out there and give up 6 or 7 runs because you want to pinch hit for him next inning. The Astros have enough pitchers now to have a guy come in and get one out and pinch hit for him.
Cardinals have played well here at Minute Maid Park since it opened. They're 25-24 in this ballpark.
0-3 last year in the playoffs, though.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Crowds have really been good on this homestand. That next homestand Greg was talking about with the Florida Marlins coming in for 4. Should see some very nice crowds. Washington now has scored 3 in the bottom of the 7th and leads the Phillies 6-0. Still batting in the bottom of the 7th inning. With the Phillies losing in extra frames last night, the Astros did not lose any ground. And Frank Robinson had an interesting quote in the paper after that game. It sounded as if he was saying that if Washington had lost that game, it would have been pretty much over, but a little early to be giving up, you'd think. Washington's only 3 games out right now in the wild card. They could be 2 behind Philadelphia soon.
And the thing that you are concerned about when there's 5 teams bunched like that is that if you have 3 or 4 of them in front of you, even if you play well, chances are one of those other teams is going to play well too. If they were 3 games back of just one team, it would be a lot easier.
Washington will be playing Florida in the next series starting tomorrow. They have an afternoon game at Washington, and the Mets are at Atlanta with an afternoon game tomorrow. Bressolonic strikes out, but the Cardinals score 3 in the 6th inning on 2 hits. They strand 2. It's 3-1 St. Louis.
Good look at today's Diamond Notes brought to you by Valero. Jack McKeon gets his 1,000th Major League managerial win, and probably the oldest manager to get 1,000 at that age. Royals 10 runs today in the first 4 innings against Texas. That's the most in a game they've scored in 46 games, and that's good for Mr. Gobble, who's on the mound, and he should be able to pick up a win, huh?
Mike Lamb pinch hitting here for Wandy Rodriguez as the bottom of the 6th inning gets underway. A 208 hitter with 7 homers, 41 runs batted in. Just took strike 1 from Jason Marquis. And on the slider, it's 1 ball and 1 strike. In 6 innings, Wandy Rodriguez allowed the Cardinals 4 hits and 3 runs. He had 2 walks, both in that lengthy 6th inning, and a hit batter. He struck out 4. 2 balls and a strike. Wandy threw 95 pitches today. .219 pinch hitting average for Mike Lamb with a homer and 9 runs batted in. Fouls that one away, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mike is 1 for 10 against Jason Marquis in his career.
Up until the 6th inning, Wandy was the sharpest I've seen him. It shows you what a good team can do when you have a little bit of a lapse. Nice swing.
Struck him out. Pitch crowded him severely. Number 5.
Next week, Fox NFL Sunday returns with exciting doubleheader action, beginning with Clinton Portis leading the Redskins into Chicago to take on the Bears, or Drew Bledsoe and the Cowboys try to stop LaDainian Tomlinson and the Chargers, or other regional action. It all begins next week at 11 a.m. Central on the Fox Television Network.
Willie Taveras is 0 for 2, and there's ball one. Made a bid for a hit with a flare into right field, so Taguchi with a sliding catch on him in the third inning. This one goes foul, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Marquis has done what the other Cardinal pitchers have done very well in this series.
Trying to pitch Willie upstairs, not over the plate, so he'll hit a fly ball out toward the big part of the ballpark.
Chases it and strikes out, or that's strike 2. But Willie has not been on base in this series. That's a rarity in a 3-game series, especially at home where he hits so well.
He might be starting to not hit so well here. Numbers might be catching up with him.
He looks at ball 2, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Phillies have a run on the board in the top of the 8th inning, but they trail Washington 6-1. Jimmy Rollins doubled, leading off the inning against Esteban Loaiza. Mason Michaels singled him in. Little chop brings Marquis in. 2 down. Chris Burke, the batter now. He singled to left in the first inning and then grounded out. Both clubs have 4 hits. In the head-to-head series with St. Louis 10-3 against Houston, the Cardinals have a 3.13 ERA against the Astros. So they have been stingy. Little chop brings Marquis over again. He barehands, guns it, and gets him. A fine play by Marquis to make it a 1-2-3 6th inning. He's set down 7 straight. 3-1 St. Louis. 3 in the 6th inning, and the Cardinals lead at 3-1 over Houston after 6. Time for our Texas Ford Dealers league leaders now. Greg Biggio on the bench today, getting a rest. He's ready for pinch hitting duties. Back in 1997, Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell were 4th and 3rd respectively behind the MVP of the National League, Larry Walker, in the voting.
I thought Craig and Jeff were probably in the top 10 players in the whole league for about 5 or 6 years in a row.
Brandon Duckworth in the game in relief, throws strike 1 to So Taguchi. He just rejoined the Astros yesterday from AAA Round Rock. He opened the season as the Astros 5th starter. There's a 1 ball, 1 strike count, and pitched in relief at first. Then he got a couple starts, one against St. Louis. He went 8-6 at AAA. With a 4.62 ERA. That was smacked into center field. The attendance 38,277. So Taguchi's now 1 for 3. Duckworth started a game in St. Louis April 21st against Jason Marquis. He lost that game 8-7. He gave up all 8 runs in 4 innings. 1 of 2 starts he's had, and he's also had 4 relief outings for the Astros. Pitch out, runner going, and the throw is right there by Raul Chavez. He's thrown out 8 of 13 now. Adam Everett with a good tag.
Right on the bag. They threw him out easily, and he'd only been thrown out once all year prior to that. A fairly good jump, as you can see. He's very fast. Nobody's faster than the ball.
One down, the count 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes on Nunez. Astros needed these 2 extra arms, Strickland and Duckworth, to get through the weekend, they felt. That's why they promoted both of them.
It's not that the game today isn't important. Every game's important. But the way the bullpen's been used in the last 3 or 4 days, I know Phil Garner would like to go into that series with the Phillies at full strength with the top 3 relief pitchers.
Very good point.
You hope you have to use those guys today. It wouldn't take much, just a couple of runs.
3 balls and a strike. Chop toward first, foul, and it's 3-2. Lined over shortstop into left center. Scott plays it, a single for Nunez, and the Cardinals are getting some good swings here in the 7th inning.
The Houston Astros are hosting BuzzFest 16, presented by 94.5 The Buzz at Minute Maid Park on Saturday, October 22nd. Come join us for the hottest acts in alternative rock, including groups like Audioslave and Nickelback. They'll be playing in this all-day festival. Tickets now on sale at all Ticketmaster locations and at thebuzz.com.
Well, Greg listens to those groups around the house all the time.
I was going to ask him which one he prefers.
You like Nickelback more, don't you, Greg?
I do, because, you know, if you buy something for 95 cents and give them $1, you'll get a Nickelback.
There you go. Hector Luna was hit by a pitch in the 6th inning after he grounded into a double play. 1-1. Luna, with his slide into second baseman Jose Castillo of Pittsburgh, evidently triggered all the theatrics in Pittsburgh with the Cardinals and Pirates several days ago, leading to the suspensions of Gerald Perry and Dave Duncan. Pirates, according to reports, didn't like Luna's slide into the second baseman, and then he was dusted by Rick White.
Well, you can see why, because the second baseman there for the Pirates is having a good year and one of their most important players.
And according to, go ahead, Larry.
He wasn't just hurt. I mean, he had to have surgery.
Right. He's out for the year.
The same thing happened with Joe Morgan. Tommy Agee took him out late 60s or so, had to have surgery.
Duckworth did the strike.
That surgery for Morgan led to some inside pitches by both teams and eventually to a brawl.
Jason Marquis, the batter, he grounded out and put down a sacrifice, according to reports, and Dave Duncan might dispute these reports. Then the next day, Rick White was around the batting cage, and Duncan went over to ask him if that was a purpose pitch he threw to Luna. And Gerald Perry took issue with that question being asked on the field of an opponent, and that's when all the trouble started. There are usually 2 different versions of these stories.
Oh, yeah.
But while his appeal, his suspension is being reviewed, he sat out just the 1 game Friday night and then got back into uniform last night.
And if his suspension is upheld, does he get credit for that 1 day?
Oh, that's a real good question.
I would think he would.
Should. Perry, of course, got an even longer suspension of 8 games. Marquis tried to get out of the way of that inside pitch, and he's hit by it.
And now they're saying that it hit the bat. The first base umpire, I think, is saying that it hit the bat.
And it did hit the bat. So there's the call by Greg Gibson at third.
Well, Garner came out and went right back, so he must have been told that it was called a strike foul ball. Otherwise, he'd still be out there arguing. The umpire, Angel Hernandez, is explaining that to Marquis. If it hits the bat and your hand, it's a foul ball. If it just hits your hand, you're hit by the pitch.
Well, apparently they appealed on the swing to Gibson, and he said he swung at it. If he swings at it and it hits him, it's a strike.
Yeah, that's true, too. It's a strike either way.
Left hand.
Apparently, it's not bothering him too much because he's swinging the bat pretty hard right now. And it looked like the left hand that got clipped. And if it was the right hand, you might wonder if it would affect his pitching.
Reaches and he pokes it foul. But if it would hit his left fingers of the left hand, and they're wrapped around the bat, then that could be considered a foul ball. If it hits up more toward the wrist, then it would be hit by the pitch if he didn't swing at it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Phillies got 1 in the 8th, but they trail Washington 6-1. The Nationals are batting in the bottom of the 8th. Marquis strikes out. No runs, 2 hits, a man left. Heading to the bottom of the 7th inning, it's 3-1 Cardinals, and the fans will take part in the singing of God Bless America. Lewis, bottom of the 7th inning, time for our Geico quote. It comes from Jeff Bagwell. Here's what he had to say about the progress of his shoulder. Am I 100% ready to go and all that? No, not yet. I haven't hit in 4 months. I have a shoulder that's trying to get rehab. One guess as to when he might be activated would be for the Milwaukee series after the Phillies series coming up.
That's what I've been hearing.
Morgan Ensberg leads it off, home 7th inning. Jason Marquis throws ball 1 in the dirt. Marquis has retired Ensberg both times. Has a 3-1 lead. He's allowed the Astros 4 hits, 2 of them by Lance Berkman, who's on deck. A drive to right field. Heads for So Taguchi. That's 8 straight outs for Marquis. These Cardinals starting pitchers have been strong this weekend. Our Coors Light cold blast came from Lance Berkman. This is the 6th homer out of 7 for the Astros on this homestand that reaches the Landry's Crawford boxes. Coors Light takes the cold. Berkman's 3rd long ball of this homestand. He's 2 for 2 in this game. He also had a single to right center. He takes the breaking pitch for strike 1. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. He's gone to right field 7 times, to left 7, and to center twice.
It really doesn't have a home run in his swing. He's got a level swing hitting left-handed, and he swings slightly downward when he hits right-handed.
Off the end of the bat, and Nunez shows range to his left because the way the Cardinals were playing him on the infield, it would have been a hit had it gotten by him.
But they have Eckstein way up the middle.
Jason Lane has a single in 2 trips.
Singled off the wall and left, really hit the ball hard, just didn't get it up high enough.
Marquis picks away at a corner and misses for ball 1. He's still throwing 94. One ball, 1 strike. Luke Scott is on deck. Shortstop on a hanging breaking ball. Lane gets a 2-out single. He's 2 for 3.
Another very good swing on a breaking ball. It was a hanger, but he waited back, timed it well.
He's aboard for Luke Scott. Scott is grounded out and struck out.
Be a good time for his first big league homer.
Wouldn't it though? This place would erupt. Ball 1 to Scott. Cardinals trying to win a series in a ballpark where the Astros have the best home record in the league, 46-23. Marquis has made it tough to get it out of the infield. Going back to Friday night, Mark Mulder gave up 2 hits and 1 earned run in 8 innings. And last night, Chris Carpenter 2 runs in 9 innings. Marquis another strong performance. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals lead the majors in wins by starting pitchers with 73. White Sox are second with 62. The Astros are third. Grounded foul past Cheo Cruz, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cheo was asking the trivia question today, which Hispanic player was the first to win a batting title in the major leagues? And he was upset that I didn't know the answer. Bobby Avila of the Cleveland Indians, 1954.
I wouldn't known that either. I had a feeling it was somebody that was not obvious, like Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, all of us were guessing Clemente. He said, no, you should know this.
Looks like they've gone to the scouting report on Luke. The breaking ball, and then sneak a fastball.
Yeah, a lot of outspeed stuff, and don't throw a fastball for a strike.
Don't use the fastball as your #1 pitch when he's up. At least that's not what they're doing.
Adam Everett's on deck. Infield shifted around, playing Scott to pull. Scott punches it foul. Dave Duncan does the alignment of the fielders for the Cardinals, and Tony La Russa said that he would miss that when Duncan was not on the bench Friday night. So Duncan comes back for the remaining 2 games of the series. Three balls and 2 strikes. Duncan evidently also conducts the meetings before every series on the opposing pitchers and their moves to first. Brad Thompson.
Man, he spends a lot of time on the computer. Duncan does it, reading Tony La Russa's book that was out this summer. Tony doesn't even use the computer.
Really?
It's hard to believe.
It is. Runner going, and it's a comebacker. Marquis makes the play to end the 7th inning. No runs, a hit, and a man left after 7, 3-1. Redbirds. 1 after 7. Our higher standards game recap is brought to you by Bank of America, the official bank of baseball. Lance Berkman took one the other way in the 4th inning off Jason Marquis. The Astros led 1-0. Then in the 6th inning, the Cardinals started working. They got a walk, a hit batsman, a sac bunt, a 2-run single here from Jim Edmonds. Take a 2-1 lead after another walk. Yadier Molina RBI single, making it 3-1. You're up to date as Brandon Duckworth starts the 8th inning, and there's strike 1 to David Eckstein, who's 1 for 3. Duckworth due to bat 3rd in the bottom half of this frame. He rips a curveball to left field. It goes to the wall. Eckstein, after a pause, will head for second and make it in head first. He hesitated around first as if he might not have been able to make the double, but he got his 22nd two-base hit.
I think if it had come off the wall right to Scott quickly, he could have stopped him at first base, but that didn't happen.
That slight hesitation, but he threw it into high gear again. The Cardinals get their first extra base hit of the 7 they have. The Phillies have lost. Washington won it 6-1.
And the Mets scored a couple more runs just now, so they're up 7-1 now on the Marlins.
Bottom of the 9th there. Edmonds with a roller gets the runner to 3rd. 1 out. So Edmonds, who drove in 2 in the 6th inning, makes a productive out here in the 8th. And Albert Pujols, the infielders coming in as a runner at 3rd and 1 out. He's 0 for 2 with a walk.
Infielders probably don't like to play in with this guy hitting. And now they're going to walk him.
And bring up Molina.
And that's probably a good decision right there. I was not real big on intentional walks, but if you just don't want to face a guy, that's about the only thing you can do. In this case, it's got a secondary purpose. You don't want to face him, and you set up a double play.
This is the 23rd intentional walk he has received this year. And it's Molina. Molina Molina with an RBI single in the 6th inning for the legs of Wandy Rodriguez. 1 for 3. Jim Hickey comes out. The Astros have a right-hander working in the bullpen. Pujols, by the way, leads the league in intentional walks. Scott Strickland is warming up.
And what you need now with the catcher batting is a ground ball. It doesn't have to be hit sharply right at somebody. Just a medium speed ground ball would do.
Astros have bought some time for Strickland here. He's thrown 4 or 5 pitches since Hickey's been at the mound. And then, if they really want to go to Strickland, they can buy a little more time here while Hickey goes back to the dugout, because Phil Garner would then have a few more seconds to come out before the change has to be made. But it looks as if Duckworth will stay in.
Yeah, well, he has to. As soon as Hickey leaves the field, he has to face his hitter.
Molina takes ball 1. In that Washington-Philadelphia game, 6-1 the final. The Phillies got only 4 hits in losing to Esteban Loaiza. He gave up 4 hits in 8 innings, struck out 11. Squeeze, and it's foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
How many times have you seen the cleanup hitter squeeze?
Not very much. Molina may not be the prototypical cleanup hitter, and maybe that's why they do it. He did drive in a run last time up. Batting this time against the right-handed pitcher Duckworth. He failed to get the bunt down. Two balls and a strike. Looks like a sprinkler head has failed to work in the Phillies bullpen. There's water gushing out there. Line to left field, and it's 4-1 on the RBI single by Molina. Things working well for the Cardinals. They fail to get the squeeze down, but Molina gets his 2nd run-producing hit of the day and his 45th run batted in. While there's a gusher in the Cardinal bullpen.
To bring on the fire department.
Phil Garner out to the mound. Scott Strickland will be heading in. And meanwhile, a member of the grounds crew at Minute Maid Park is running out to the bullpen of the Cardinals to try to get that water leak solved. Redbirds lead it here 4-1 as the Astros bring in Strickland for the 2nd time in as many games. Back in a moment. Cardinals lead it 4-1, and they have a minor problem in their bullpen, but they may not need their bullpen for this game. What's on tap with the Astros is brought to you by Anheuser-Busch. It's Andy Pettit and Brett Myers tomorrow night in Philadelphia at Citizens Bank Park. Pettit 4-1 with a 1.95 ERA in his last 5 starts. Myers 8-2 at home, 1-0 against the Astros as the battle for the wild card lead hits Philadelphia tomorrow night. Mark Bressolonics the batter against Scott Strickland, and he fouls back. Strike 1. 2 men on, 1 out. Cardinals leading 4-1. Strickland pitched well last night, 1 hitless inning in his debut with the Astros. He came in with the Astros trailing 2-1 in the 6th inning, and he retired the Cardinals 1-2-3, getting Walker, Taguchi, and Molina.
It's been a long road from this Houston native through professional baseball and finally back to his hometown. Started with Montreal.
It's 1-1, and it was a long road for he and Brandon Duckworth to get to this ballpark after a lot of travel from that AAA season with the club on the road. 2-0 after being picked up by Round Rock with a 2.37 ERA and 5 saves for Scott Strickland. Back, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Washington Nationals with that big home win over the Phillies 6-1. Got a 3-run homer from Brian Schneider, number 10, and a 3-run shot from Preston Wilson, number 22. Wilson had a big weekend with meaningful hits. Nationals now trail the Phillies by 2 games.
There we go.
And the throw to third. Safe. A stolen base by Pujols. He's 14 for 16.
And the runner at first, Molina, has fallen asleep. He should be on second right now.
That was a good throw, too. Pujols barely beating that play. Molina stayed right there, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. No, it's strike 3, and now it's So Taguchi as it's out number 2. Taguchi with ball 1. Taguchi 1 for 3. Cardinals have not done a lot of running this year, but Pujols has opened some eyes with his 14 steals and 16 tries. Two balls, no strikes. And it's 2-1 for Strickland. Scott went to Klein Oak High School in spring. It did take him a while to come back home again, pitch for his hometown team. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Strickland's now 29. Burke into shallow right field, calling. Jason Lane calls him off. And in the 8th inning, the Cardinals add a run on 2 hits. They strand 2. It's 4-1 St. Louis. 1 time for our Grab Life by the Horns feature. Today we have a rapid fire Q&A session with Jeff Bagwell.
Golfing or fishing?
Oh, golfing.
Basketball or football?
Basketball.
Leno or Letterman?
Letterman.
Field of Dreams or Bull Durham?
Bull Durham.
Grab Life by the Horns is brought to you by Dodge, where we grab life by the horns every day. Strike 1 to Adam Everett, leading it off in the home 8th inning against Jason Marquis, who now leads 4-1. And it's pulled to shortstop. David Eckstein takes care of out number 1 for Marquis. Marquis has 2 complete games this season. Eckstein, that ball came back to him, having a little problem. They have fixed the problem apparently in the Cardinal bullpen. Craig Biggio announced now as a pinch hitter for Raul Chavez.
He still hasn't fixed the problem in the Astros batter's box.
No. 269 for Biggio, 18 homers, 52 runs batted in, 2 hits in this series. He's on a 5-game hitting streak. And grounds a foul for strike 1. Biggio rolls it to short. Eckstein throws him out, 2 down. Brandon Duckworth in an inning and a third allowed 4 hits and 1 run. He had 1 walk. It was intentional, and 2 strikeouts. And now Scott Strickland will yield to a pinch hitter. Orlando Palmeiro comes out. Mike Gallo warming up in the bullpen. Palmeiro will pinch hit for Strickland, who in 2/3 of an inning allowed no hits, no runs, with no walks and a strikeout. He's been perfect in both of his Houston outings. Strickland fitting in very quickly. Gallo stretching it out there as Palmeiro, with a .306 batting average, brings 3 homers and 18 runs batted into the plate. .360 on base average. As a pinch hitter, .333, 14 for 42. He leads the club in pinch hits, and he has a homer and 7 runs batted in. Strike to Palmeiro.
Only 89 pitches so far by Marquis, and that last one was 93. He's not losing anything.
The bouncer out to Bressolonic. Makes it an easy 8th inning. Moving to the 9th, 4-1 Redbirds.
Top of the 9th, Astros down 4-1. Don't miss your chance to get in on all the action from the week in Big 12 football. Condensed into one 30-minute show, Big 12 instant replay has highlights from every touchdown and scoring play from around the conference. Big 12 instant replay premiering Monday at 10 p.m. only on FSN Houston.
Thank you, Greg. Brad Osmus comes in to do the catching. And the new pitcher is lefty Mike Gallo, pitcher number 4 for Phil Garner in this game. He has no wins or losses, Larry.
No, he's looking to make a comeback here. He did not have a good outing last night. A third of an inning, 3 hits and a run.
He failed to get left-handed batters out. Edmonds, Walker, who hits off him, and so Taguchi chimed in. There's ball 1 to Nunez. Nunez has been on all 3 times. 2 singles and a walk, a run scored. He's played well at third base. Bounces this one on one big hop. Berkman with the lead toss. And whoa, safe at first. Gallo appeared to slow down.
I don't know what he was doing. It looked like a play that Berkman might be able to go over and do it himself, but you can't assume that. Even at the end, he still could have beaten him if he picked up the pace a little bit.
It's an infield hit for Nunez. He's 3 for 3 with a walk. And the umpire at first, Tom Hallian, made a good call. Hector Luna with ball 1. Luna was hit by a pitch and scored in the 6th inning. He's 0 for 2. Slow roller to short. Everett with a quick shovel, and Burke didn't have a shot at a double play. The ball hit too slowly. He gave it a try anyway. 1 out. Lead runner retired. Now the pitcher spot, and Marquis goes 0 for 2 with a sacrifice bunt. A bunt that moved along both runners in the 6th inning, and they both scored on the single by Edmonds. So Marquis has helped himself at the plate. He's pitched a fine game. Astros have had only 4 at-bats with runners on base in this game, so Marquis has really kept traffic down. He bunts. Gallo throws him out. Down.
Fans, you know you can watch live game video from MLB.tv, and it's right on your computer. For that information and more, go to Astros.com, and also sign up online for the Astros Blast. And you can receive the weekly eSaver email that includes an exclusive ticket offer each week, good for up to 50% off your game tickets. So why not log on to Astros.com today and get in on the action.
David Eckstein is 2 for 4. He scored a run after his 8th inning double. Jay So is 7-1, winning for the Mets at Florida, 7-1, beating A.J. Burnett, who's 12-9. Strike to Eckstein, and the Mets have tightened it up. They've pulled it within 2.5 of the Phillies. No balls, 2 strikes. Big series starting tomorrow night for the Astros and the Phillies. Meanwhile, the Mets will be in Atlanta tomorrow for a 12:05 start. And Florida will be at Washington for a 12:05 start. So by the time the Astros and Phillies start, we'll know the results of those 2 encounters. It's September, pennant race fever for the wild card, and it's never been tighter.
And it seems like all the teams that are in it keep trying to hand it off to the other team.
Yeah.
Nobody will take it.
Well, probably anybody in that race would take 90 wins right here now. Doesn't look like that's going to be the final figure for the winner of the wild card.
I doubt it. That'd be 18 over. We're looking at 10 right now.
Yeah. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's only been one time that the wild card team has not won as many as 90. Baltimore won 88 one year. Jason Isringhausen is warming up with a 2.02 ERA and 34 saves. Two balls and 2 strikes. Isringhausen came in despite Mark Mulder's strong finishing kick Friday night because he hadn't had a save in a while.
And he blew that save, and then Cardinals took the lead. He went back out and blew it again.
Three balls and 2 strikes. Washington and the Mets are both 2 behind in the loss column in the wild card race right now. Jason Marquis has had quite a day of it. Popped up. Ensberg, Everett calling. In the ninth, no runs a hit, a man stranded. 4-1 Cardinals. St. Louis leading, bottom of the ninth coming. Our Sonic Good replay is coming as well, showing you a 4th inning play for Jim Edmonds, a 2-run. Well, he had a 2-run single, but this is the catch in the 4th inning that Willie Taveras made on him. And then later in the 6th inning, Edmonds drove in 2 to give the Cardinals their first lead. So Taveras took that one away, and now he leads it off in the bottom of the 9th inning. Taveras 0 for 3. The Cardinals have 13 complete games. They're tied for the league lead with Florida. Jason Marquis has a shot at one here, and there's strike 1.
He's only thrown 91 pitches.
Eckstein, 1 out. Chris Burke is 1 for 3. He singled in the 1st inning. The Yankees, the Angels, and the Oakland A's began the day in a tie for the wild card lead in the American League. Seattle nothing, the Angels nothing after 1. Strike 1 to Burke. Yankees play at Oakland tonight.
Well, the Astros just haven't been able to get the ball off the ground against Marquis. Only 3 fly balls to the outfield and 1 fly ball over the outfield. Berkman's home run. Other than that, they haven't picked up any walks. It's just a whole bunch of ground balls and few strikeouts.
Cardinals trying for back-to-back complete game efforts, with Carpenter doing it last night. A drive to left field is hooking. It's near the foul pole, and it's foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Greg Gibson made the emphatic call.
He was right there with a better look at it than we had. It obviously landed foul in the seats, but it could hook around the foul pole, and somebody in foul territory might get it. No way of telling with that shot.
No. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Marquis allowed 21 home runs this season. 178 innings. Popped up by Burke. And the left fielder, Luna, comes over. 2 outs. 6 in a row set down by Marquis. Cubs shut out Pittsburgh 2-0. Jerome Williams got that win with 7 1/3 innings of shutout ball. He beat Kip Wells, who's 7 15. Ryan Dempster got his 22nd save. Omar Garciaparra hit his 6th home run. Morgan Ensberg 0 for 3. And that's strike 1. Line drive left. Luna snags it, and that's the ball game as the Cardinals get back-to-back complete games. Chris Carpenter last night, an 8-hitter. Jason Marquis today, a 5-hitter. The Redbirds win it 4-1. They take 2 of 3 in this series. They lead the season series from the Astros 11-3. And the Astros wind up a homestand with a 4-2 record. More in a moment. Cardinals showed why they have the best winning percentage in the National League. They leave town with an 87-50 record and a 14.5 game lead over the second place Houston Astros, whose fans showed up in good numbers today, 38,277. Now it's going to be grandparents walk the bases today. While we check our player of the game, brought to you by Gatorade. Jason Marquis, a marquee performer today, going to 11 and 13 with a 5-hit complete game effort. He struck out 5. Didn't walk anybody. The Astros had a real problem lifting the ball out of the infield, and Marquis was really in command in this ball game. He fell behind in the 4th inning on a Berkman homer, 1-0, but then in the 6th the Cardinals got in the lead, and after the 6th inning the Astros had only 1 base runner. So Marquis gets his 3rd complete game, and he is now 4-0 against the Astros this season. And Chris Carpenter is also 4-0 against the Astros this season. That's a look at the fans who are staying around for a while here today, and why not? It was a quick ball game. Cardinals won it 4-1. To take the series 2 games to 1. Jason Marquis is 11 and 13, beating Wandy Rodriguez. His record 9 and 7. And we bring you up to date on the National League wild card situation. It did not change for the top 3 teams, with Washington upending Philadelphia 6-1. Esteban Loaiza winning that game. With Florida losing to the New York Mets, Jay So winning that one over A.J. Burnett 7-1. Both those clubs hold firm and lose again for the 64th time. The Astros gain their 64th loss of the year. So right now it's Philadelphia in first, Houston and Florida tied for second, 1/2 game back. Washington tightens it up, moving to within 2. And the Mets pull to within 2.5. 5 teams within 2.5 games of each other, going into a brand new week in September, starting tomorrow night when the Astros will be at Philadelphia. Andy Pettitte 4-1 with a 1.95 ERA in his last 5 starts, pitching in a hitter's haven tomorrow night against Brett Myers, who has found a way to cope with the adversity for a pitcher in Philadelphia. He's 8-2 at home. He's 1-0 in his career against the Astros. That's the matchup tomorrow night. And Larry, as the grandparents walk the bases here, the Astros hope that they will break into a sprint tomorrow night.
They need to do something. They've really been sputtering offensively in the last week or so, and they're just lucky that the other teams in the race have been losing some games too.
That'll do it for this homestand. The Astros going 4-2. Our next FSN Houston Astros telecast is tomorrow night at 6. It's the opener of that huge series between the Astros and the Phillies. Don't forget to tune in to Sports on Sunday tonight at 9 for a recap of today's sports highlights, including this game. The Cardinals winning it 4-1 over the Astros today. For Larry Durker, Greg Lucas, and our entire crew, this is Bill Brown saying so long from Houston. Keep it right here. Next up is the Rangers versus the Royals, joining it in progress.